have you ever tried with something fragile and expensive and thought to yourself, I really hope it doesn't break or even decide not to bring it at all? Well, if you're a fisherman and ever thought about this, then our product is perfect for you. We are Tote, and we are Tyler,
Nick.
and unfortunately our third member, Bram, who is out sick today and couldn't come in, so we did our best to cover his parts on such short notice. So, yeah.
All right.
Go for it.
Yep.
So the problem we here at Tote are trying to solve is the issue of expensive fishing rods and gear being damaged or broken on long trips, such as in the luggage area of planes or in the back of cars. As a fisherman myself, I know I've had this fear before, and around 2 years ago, I was going on a trip to northern Michigan with a few of my friends, and at the time I had purchased a brand new rod and was excited to use it. When I got to the airport, I had to put my rod in a flimsy rod sock, which is not a really good way to transport a rod. I do not recommend that. So when we got to Michigan, I went to the baggage claim and I found my brand new rod was broken at the tip, which pretty much renders the rod useless. And ever since then, I have been looking for a safe and secure way to transport my rods and tackle on planes or in cars during long trips. So from all these pictures, our case aims to allow fishermen to travel different locations and have a safe, secure way to transport their rods and tackle. In our concept images, we have slots to store 2 different rods, which can be 6 foot in length, but can be broken apart, which can be put side by side all together. Our case will also have different reel slots to hold your reels, so you don't have to have them attached to the rod and damage them to travel with. And also, as well as just like slots to keep line, like explosive line, if you want to have different lines for different types of fish you're going for. And lastly, a spot for a tackle box to keep your tackle box nice and secure. And in reality, you have everything in all one safe area, so you're not worried about losing something or having stuff misplaced by the packaging boat. Through our market research, we have learned that our customer segment is traveling fishermen who have a yearly income of $90,000 to $100,000 plus, and who mainly live in the Midwest, which can help us with our marketing because we can market to people in the Midwest who often travel to fish because of different types of weather. For our geographics, we plan to do most of our marketing in the Midwest because it could save us money on shipping because it's closer area, which means shipping less. And also, it could allow us to use that extra money we save for our shipping to use towards product development and marketing. We have put a chart here together of our competitors, our indirect and direct competitors, which our indirect competitors are BW Sports and Orvis, who both make somewhat good travel cases and fishing stuff, and our direct competitor being Flameview Outdoors. BW Sports and Orvis both make fishing cases which cost as low as $70 to as much as $80, and Flameview Outdoors making a case which costs upwards of $100. Orvis makes a decent quality case that is made out of fabric, leather, and looks good, but in reality quality isn't really that safe. While BW and Flameview Sports make cases that kind of seem rushed or not really finished. On size, Orvis and BW Sports both make rod cases that can be put in the luggage area of planes without any extra cost, while Flameview makes a case that will cost anglers extra money to transport. BW Sports and Orvis both have kind of bad durability because their cases are made out of leather, fabric, and are soft and can get crushed easily by heavier objects, while Flameview Outdoors makes cases that are made out of carbon fiber, steel, and high-density polyurethane. And for storage, BW Sports and Orvis make cases that can only really hold a single rod or 2 rods and reel, but cannot really hold tackle or other things harboring. While Flameview makes a case that can hold your tackle, line, reels, and all sorts of stuff.
So our price point, we want to do $150. This is we found this through competitive marketing, because most of them are around the, as you said, $80 to $200 range. For our market size, we have estimated our total addressable market to be $1.9 billion, which is the entirety of the fishing equipment industry. And I found our serviceable market to be $65 million. We found this from finding out how much of that is from the Midwest and about how much fishermen travel through the United States to different areas to fish. For our marketing, we want to go and market on Instagram and Facebook. This is due to the very specific communities that we're able to reach out to, usually for free, or we could pay for marketing for them. For Google, we'd like to do product advertisements for searches, and then we'd like to go to fishing expos, which so we can get in person, so we can show our product in person to fishermen around the area, so we can get people more around the area to see our product. And then we'd also like to advertise with flyers. Here's one of the examples that we have for our flyer. We'd like to put these into Bass Shop, Bass Pro Shop, Cabela's, and any other place that sells fishing equipment. And then when you scan the QR code, it would bring you to our website, which we'd like you to pre-order from our website. But as we do not have a product or we don't have a stock at the moment, we'll bring them to an email list where we'll ask them to sign up for our email to get updates on when it will be available. And then for our first month, we are estimating around a click-through rate of 500 people. And then we are estimating around 1 in 40 people will go through the whole process to sign up. And then we'll estimate around email sign up of 12 people the first month. For MVP, our worst part that we want to work on is our solution. And how we're going to do that is we would like to make 2 physical prototypes. And what we'd like to do is find 10 participants in the area who are going to go on a fishing trip through an airplane. And we'd like to allow them to use our case for that. And then once they go on their trip and then come back, for the first 10, we'd like to get their feedback and then work on our product after that. And then to find those people, we'd like to go onto Facebook and then go to local groups such as Illinois Fishing Addicts, Chicagoland Fishing Network, and Chicagoland Area Fishing. And then for our timeline for that, we'd like week 1 through 3, we would work on our physical products, try to make them. We'll 3D print them. And then for week 4, we'd like to put out our advertisements and look for our participants. And in week 5, to however long it takes for them to be on their trips, we'd like to get our reception. And then we are asking $800. We're estimating around $150 for advertising to get the people. We'd like to get our domain for our website, which to pay for it and to get it would be around $50. For our prototype, we're estimating around $300 per prototype through the filament and through all the other parts that we need.
We were talking so and don't use your fish fly.
Tyler, can you go 1 page back?
Nope.
It's technical help.
Manual assistance here.
What happened?
He can go forward, not backwards.
1 page back. There, oh,
It'll work.
there you go.
There you go. Thanks. Perfect.
I was going to say, nice presentation. I know it's difficult when one of your team members isn't there and pick up, so nicely done. The one thing, my question is, can you explain your product a little bit more? It seems that the differentiator is really more protection and maybe more storage for stuff. But I didn't, when you're kind of going through your competitors, didn't hear how the design, what your product is going to be made of, and how is it going to be different in the sense of how will it provide more protection? What's it going to be made of, or what?
So we plan to make, for our final designs or prototypes, we plan to make it out of high-density polyurethane, which is very strong, and we plan to have the interior lined with foam. And the foam cutouts will be pretty much silent, like the rod and stuff came within them, which means that there won't be really any movement inside of it, so if they get brought around or something, the foam should help push the.
I'd like to add on to that. Our product, we are trying to make it so it is let through the TSA, which has to be 62 linear inches, which is you add up one length, one width, one depth. It has to equal 62 inches. And another thing we wanted to add is make it more compact. So we added a second shelf to it, so you can have the rods on top and then the equipment on the bottom.
So when you were going to ask people to test this, were you doing a prototype that's going to be made out of this polyurethane or the material that you're going to be making it out of?
Correct, yeah. We're going to try to 3D print it with that material.
So my only, I'm sorry, my only suggestion is, I don't know that you have to get someone to go on a trip to test it. I think if you take it and you chuck it 3 to 4 feet, that's essentially what a baggage handler is going to do. Then, you might be able to get some quicker results without having to wait. And then once you kind of have the structural components to it, then maybe you start letting people use it for feedback for what's inside of it, how it's organized.
Have you considered, since, bags are fairly standard sizes, like you said, there's TSA limits or whatever. You can get a hard case roller board luggage for maybe $100. Have you considered maybe focusing the efforts on the inserts themselves that could go into an existing one, even if just for the prototype, instead of 3D printing the entire case or whatever? But just buy 3 or 4 hard case suitcases out there and focus on the insert part that is specific to the to fishing. I wonder, what is the advantage of you creating the exterior hard shell for this versus existing things that are already on the market?
For now. Or
For now.
For now.
I'm talking about for the
For just the
prototype.
MVP.
For the prototype MVP, just.
I think that's a smart way.
Really getting to
Yeah.
what makes yours different than anything else.
Were you guys here for the whole Alibaba talk? Okay. Hint, hint.
Yeah.
Is it the shelf that goes up the competitor table that you had? Do any of them have that?
They do not.
They don't. Okay. So highlight that, focus that. That wasn't really clear if that was a unique differentiator for your product or not. I think you went back and you made yourself seem kind of too much like the rest of the guys with that competitor graph. So really focus in on the product differentiators, but also, like was said in the last group, be okay to pivot, right? So you might not find the exact thing on Alibaba, but you can find something that's maybe similar. And guess what? That factory's contact information is all right there. Hey, I love your product. We got a different entity. Do you want to make this for us? Maybe they could be a supplier for your prototype. 3D printing something this big and complex,
It'll be
I don't know if
heavy.
it's possible.
Yeah, it's
But it is
very
going to
heavy.
be, you're going to be able to get the concept across,
Yeah.
but it's not something that you're going to be able to test or throw across the room like Mike said.
Right. I really have heart for what Eric suggested of go to Costco, buy a couple for $40 that are just hard shell carry-ons, and then go to Hobby Lobby, Michael's, whatever, they sell foam inserts, cut them to fit the equipment you've got now, and then chuck it downstairs and see what happens now to your real equipment. Throw in some cheap Christmas lights there and see if anything happens to that.
I love that idea of focusing on the inserts. And also what Mike said, because I was a little concerned. You guys had a plan of finding 10 very specific individuals, but I was a little concerned about being able to achieve that in a short time period. So I think the idea of using inserts and existing luggage and trying it at home is probably the way to go. And I also just wanted to applaud you for missing a teammate today. I thought you guys were very professional about that.
I can't even, what part was Bram going to do? Because I couldn't even tell. You
Yeah.
guys
So,
covered it.
Pretty much the market one, with our customer segments, the whole chart with all
Yeah.
competitors.
And then
They don't even remember, that's all.
Yeah.
It was everything from that to before the MVP.
No, like, I couldn't even tell what part he was in, so great job covering.
So, well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
It was a good pivot.
Part of the website's done. I logged in, so I'm a subscriber. The expos that you're gonna go to, you're gonna have to pay some money to present at an expo. You can't just show up and say, hey, can you test this? So that's gonna cost you some dough, and you gotta figure that out. And you're right in the middle of these expo seasons. I mean, the biggest Chicago fishing show just took place in January at Schaumburg, but there's one in Tinley Park in a week, so you'd have to really, I don't know if you could pull that off. It's the 16th, the 18th, but you gotta kind of get at this right now. When you're doing your prototypes, I would suggest you do a couple things. Take a look at if you can put more than one rod in one of your holding areas.
Yeah, so those 2 slots are meant for 2 rods.
2 rods each?
Yes.
So you can have 4 rods, 2 rods per slot?
Oh, yeah, so it's not like 2 individual rods, because the rods we're trying to market to are 2-piece rods that break apart in the middle.
Okay.
So you can have 2, like you have 2 of your 2-piece rods in
Yep.
one case.
Gotcha. See how close you can get them together. So you have to get a bunch of extra foam to test that out. See if you can put a tackle box in there, so now I only have to carry 1 thing through the airport as opposed to 2, because whatever it is, it's gonna cost me $45 to get a packet. Those are some things I was thinking about, and then clearly go to do an MVP with something that costs $40.
Number's 800.
You know, given what Carl just said, that there is a trade show in essence coming up, that would be a great place to get intel for you guys to understand what's already in the market that you are leveling up from, what's available. And if you just take your iPads and have a mini pitch version, 2, 3 people there, you can grab some interviews, some feedback and reaction, right?
There's one in Tinley Park, the 16th, 17th, 18th. It's a pretty big a show.
And you can go as a participant, you don't have to pay an expo.
Yeah, don't pay that. You have to start taking, and take pictures of what your competition looks like. That's 100% allowed. Would you go back to your numbers page? Yeah.
First off, I love the proportion of the ask. The
Yeah.
fact that most of it is on the prototype
Yeah, yeah,
side.
yeah.
That's exactly what it should be.
They have a pretty good website. I don't know if you checked it out. It works. It's collecting information. So make sure that on your website, if you have the ability to confirm that I've signed up, if you have some of the functionality to do that, make sure that's plugged in. That's pretty valuable right away. I'm not sure what you're advertising quite yet because you're still working on the prototype. I would focus, the domain, you need to have the domain. You need to have a website. You need to have a QR code. They're free to go find, to aim people. The prototype, I'm thinking that's $200. I'm thinking, and that's just a guess, but that's not 1, that's like 4. And you need people that will, not your friends, someone that'll test them hard. So I kind of think you're in the 250, 300 range. Anyone have an opinion on that?
I'd like them to have more options to play around with the prototypes, like to do a few things. I think like $400 for prototypes seems more reasonable to me.
Okay, and then the
And
advertisements?
then, I don't think, I would think 450.
So 450, 400 for prototypes, 50 for the domain. However you break that up, it's up to
Yeah.
you, because you may find that, hey, I got some attention, I need to put a little more money in the website. But spend the money,
Yeah.
don't wait, it's February, now.
Well, then $50 for the, like maybe some of the shows and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And gas to get to them.
They're $12, yeah.
$500.
And a polar pop when you're on your way, so. So 450? I think
I'd say 500.
500, round up to 500?
For that stuff.
I'm good. Anybody else have?
All right, great job, thank you guys.